Hi and welcome to The Wellness of Being. I'm Brad Poirier, your host. Today we have an exciting guest that's going to blow your mind. Elena here is going to talk about hypnotherapy. So a lot of people don't know about hypnotherapy. What is it? How does it work? Will it work for me? I know people have a lot of burning questions. So I want to say thank you, Elena, for coming on the show today. And I'm so excited to get right into everything.
Thank you so much for having me, Brad, and I'm excited to be here with you.
Awesome. So let's dive in. So tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of your background, how you grew up, things like that.
Okay. So I'll give you a little bit about myself. So I grew up in a communist regime. I was born in Romania, and I lived there until I was about 15. And, you know, as we all do, we don't always have the perfect, you know, parents or the perfect upbringing. So I grew up with an alcoholic father. However, that has empowered me to actually shift, sort, and separate and be determined and get the mindset that I really want to move along and, you know, manifest certain desires that I really wanted to manifest in my life. So the first thing that I really wanted to do ever since I was a child, I really wanted to have my own business. And growing up in a communist regime, I'm not sure how many people are aware, you know, public speaking is very taboo, and the government does not encourage people to have their own business. In my days, everything was run by the government. So I remember ever since I was grade 1, I really wanted to be my own boss and have my own business. So gradually, you know, I left Romania when I was 16. I moved to England. I studied accounting there, and, you know, I started my business. Along the way, I got married. Things didn't work out, as sometimes things don't do. However, I overcame all my obstacles. I started my own business, and I've been in business now doing accounting since about 18 years now. Now, working with different clients from different walks of life, I realized that when you deal with money, certain people have these blockages, this certain mindset. So that inspired me to go and study hypnotherapy. Because I found that when you understand how the mind works and how the mind processes information, it is very easy for you to actually shift your mindset and actually excel and produce the results that you're actually looking for.
So how did you know that this was your passion? This was something that you wanted to do, you wanted to go into? Was it something internal, something in your mind that said, I want to change people, or was there something different that kind of went on?
I'll give you an example. I remember it like yesterday. I had this client come to my door, and I was looking at his tax records, and I noticed that he had a limp. He had an injury. So I said to him, I'm just noticing that, you know, you're walking with a limp. Are you feeling okay? And he said, you know what, I've had this accident. I'm really not feeling all that good, and I have an impairment. So immediately, as a tax specialist, I said to him, well, you know what, how long you've had this experience? Said, well, I've been like this for about 3 or 4 years now. So I said to him, well, this is what we can do. I will give you this form, which is a tax credit that you're entitled to get this benefit from the government. And looking at your portfolio, I can see that you would qualify to get this refund going back 5 years. So I said, you know, all we have to do is fill up this form, you go to your doctor, and then we send it to the government, they'll process it, they'll give you a minimum of 3,000 credit going all the way back to 5 years. Well, I was in so much shock when he says, well, I don't want charity. I really don't want this money. So I would say, well, this is not charity. This is something that you're entitled to, is a credit that the government has out there. Well, lo and behold, he did not want the credit, and he actually refused to move forward with the credit.
Oh, wow.
So that for me was a wake-up call. Because then I was thinking, well, how many people out there have the same mindset, the same mentality?
Yes, yes.
So that's when I decided, well, I really need to learn how the mind works, because learning how the mind works, I am able to empower and change people's perception. So then I started training as a hypnotherapist.
Oh, wow. So that's a big change, coming all the way, moving to Canada, you know, and just starting your life. And especially, too, it must have been tough when you live in a society that kind of really dictates, so to speak, of where you can be, how much you can do, things like that, where, you know, and it must have taken a lot just for you at that age, just to get up and go
Yes, it
You
did.
know?
But everything happens for a reason, and every ups and downs that we experience in our life, we have to look for the positive aspect of it, and how is this going to empower me? How is this making me stronger?
That's right. So with hypnotherapy then, what is hypnotherapy?
Okay, so there is a lot of misconception out there about hypnotherapy, and there is a lot of definitions that people have, and when they hear the word hypnosis, what they really think is, oh my God, is she going to put me under and make me bark like a dog? Or
that's correct.
That's not what hypnotherapy is. So before I give you an explanation, because really to me hypnotherapy is just a relationship between the client and the hypnotherapist, or if you like, a student-teacher relationship. Yes. So what happens is, I'm the teacher and I just guide you along a process, right? So imagine, we have two minds, and I like to call this our conscious and unconscious mind. So hypnotherapy basically is that relationship that you and I built as a teacher-student, and that allows me to get the information from your conscious to the unconscious to get you to a process that will make the shift that you require, whether it is quit smoking, or whether it is losing weight, or anxiety. Our programming starts from the time we are like 3.5 up to the age of 7. So really, let's say if I give you an example, if I take a 2-year-old and I place him in a family that tells him, you know what, you're the best thing that happened to us, you're smart, you're wonderful, I guarantee you that child is going to grow up and do wonderful things. He's going to empower people. Now if I take the same child and I put him in a family that they tell him, you're good for nothing, I wish you never came along, well, that child is going to grow up and really not manifest. So basically hypnotherapy is just a process.
So how does hypnosis work?
So hypnosis works, just imagine a relationship. If you are able to go to sleep and relax, it's just a process of relaxation, basically. It's you are constantly aware of what happens, you are always in control, and it's just someone giving you a suggestion, and you just follow through on that suggestion. So if you are able, for example, academically to learn English, or academically to learn math, it's the same thing with hypnosis. It's just a process that you go from A to Z, and you just allow me to reason with your unconscious mind and get you to shift and look at things from a different perspective.
Can anyone be hypnotized?
Absolutely. Let me give you an example. Have you ever had an experience when you watched a movie and you're so hooked on what's happening that you block everything else around you?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
That's being hypnotized. So we are being hypnotized on a regular basis, and we are in trance all the time. We're not aware of it, because just you focusing on that movie and blocking everything else around you, that is hypnosis.
Wow. I wonder, what's it feel like to be hypnotized?
Well, everybody has a different feeling, everybody has a different experience. Feedback from some of my clients, they tell me, well, I felt completely relaxed and very comfortable. So everybody, you will feel different. If you want, we can try a little relaxation, a small induction, and then you can give me feedback and say, okay, this is how I felt. I'm not sure if you've ever been hypnotized before, or if you want to experience.
Sure, that sounds fun.
Oh, we can do that, just, But
so what do I need to do?
Okay, you just, all you need to do is just make yourself, you feel comfortable in that position, okay? So are you comfortable?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes for me.
Okay.
That's right. And allow this complete and comfortable relaxation to start from the top of your head to the tips of your, that's right. I want you to breathe in peace and tranquility. That's right. And exhale all that tension that feels around your head, around your eyes. That's right. Just allow yourself to let go. That's right. Just know that you are in a safe place. That's right. So in a moment, Brad, I'm going to lift up your right hand. And as I do, I'm going to place it right here on your hip on this shelf. So I want you to imagine that your hand is resting there on that shelf. That's right. And continue to focus on your breathing. Breathe in. That's right. Continue focusing on that breathing. And I want you to switch your focus to that hand and notice the sensation in that hand. And as you continue to focus on that hand, notice how different that hand feels from the other hand. That's right. And as you continue that relaxation, allow yourself to really sink down. That's right. Sink yourself all the way down. And as you continue that relaxation, focus on that hand again and allow that hand to sink down as you go deeper and deeper into a trance now. That's right. We're taking small micro movements. Focus on that hand and notice how heavy that hand is becoming, and allow it slowly, micro movements, allow that hand to gently sink down. That's right. Sinking that hand all the way down as you go deeper and deeper into trance. That's right. Allow it to sink all the way down and touch your leg. That's right. Those small micro movements. You don't need to worry about anything else. You don't need to think about anything else right now. Just focus on that hand becoming heavy and heavy. That's right. Allow it to sink all the way down as you go deeper and deeper into trance now. That's right. All the way down, feeling comfortable and relaxed. That's wonderful. I want you to continue to feel the feeling underneath that chair right now. And as you continue this process, I want you to allow your unconscious mind, that's right, allow it to do a hard drive defragmentation and allow it to get rid of all the tie loose ends that you no longer need anymore. That's right. And as you continue this beautiful process of relaxation, in a moment I'm going to count from 3 down to 1. That's right. And as I do, when you hear number 1, you will come back to the surface feeling refreshed, comfortable, and energized. Number 3, getting ready to come back to the first surface all the way up. Number 2, you're almost here. Number 1, come back to here and now. Hi.
Hey. Wow.
How are you?
Good, good. I feel refreshed.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel my head is clear. My hand was feeling heavy though.
I was telling you.
Yeah, there was a difference. Yeah, there was, I felt a difference, but this one felt a lot heavier.
Awesome. Yeah. So from your own experience,
yes,
how did it feel for you?
Very relaxing. Mm-hmm. It wasn't invasive. It was an easy way to kind of, you know, slip in and just relax and things like that.
And did you feel in control?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, it was still very comfortable, very easy, and things like that. I didn't have to, yeah, I felt like I was in a safe environment and things like that. Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been hypnotized, because I was one of those people that thought, I can't be hypnotized. Right. And now seeing this right now, obviously, you know, I would imagine anybody can be hypnotized. Like you said, watching a television, watching a movie, just in everyday life, we kind of get into this state
yes.
that we're in this hypnotic state, so to speak, and stuff like that. So with that, so with me, I just feel very relaxed now. But what about somebody who has a fear of spiders?
Oh, there is, hypnosis can address fear of spiders. Hypnosis can address anxiety. What I've done with you right now, it's a small component of hypnosis. Mm-hmm. It's just a small relaxation
yes.
part. But Usually I talk to the client beforehand. I spend 15-20 minutes, sometimes half an hour, and I find out, you know, what the cause is. We go back, and then I use tools and strategies that I've learned along the way to actually eliminate that phobia. So there is a specific phobia that we use, that we can eliminate that with hypnosis, drug-free, very comfortable, very safe, very relaxed.
But what if someone came to you, Elena, and said, I want to be successful. I'm trying, I'm not making any money. Would hypnosis help with them?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. Because the first thing I would address is, okay, you're not feeling successful. We got to go back in time and see what happened between that 3.5 and 7 or 8 years old. There is really, it's just a blockage that most of us, you know, and most clients or most people, they come to me and they don't realize what's holding them back. But then when we actually go back in time and, you know, I get them into a nice relaxed trance and we go back in time, you know, they come back and they immediately, wow, I never expected this to come up. So everybody is different. So then I would look for clues as to why, what triggered that emotion, because it's basically an emotion that keeps coming up over and over again. Yeah,
and I imagine how deeply it's kind of anchored in them and how much harder you have to go through. So would that work exactly the same for self-love, that people don't feel value within themselves or don't have the self-love? Would hypnosis aid in that?
Yes, because there is a reason why someone would not feel love. Maybe someone, maybe a parent, a teacher, someone in authority, you know, made them feel little. Or maybe he was not shown love and affection as a child. So there may be different factors that we can go back and see what is affecting their, you know, this emotion to come, because, you know, our memories work on emotions.
I mean, hypnosis sounds amazing. Is there someone that you believe shouldn't go for hypnosis?
You know what? If you're comfortable with it, I mean, I'm not the one to decide. It's whatever makes people comfortable. If you feel that this is something that can help you, then by all means. However, if you feel, you know what, right now I don't want to go this route, then it's, you know, it's your decision. I always encourage my clients to make their own decision. You know, it's what you feel comfortable with.
And finding a therapist is probably just as individual as everything else. I think you have to find someone that you're comfortable with, they can relate to. Obviously, if they're unable to relax, they need somebody that, you know, they can go to and trust and feel and stuff like that. I mean, our time has just flown by, Elena. It's been amazing to learn about hypnosis. I mean, obviously, I thought I couldn't be hypnotized, but obviously I got hypnotized. You all saw. And we have now, coming up next, Elena's going to come back. She's going to talk about your finances. And one more thing, I'm going to show Elena's book here. It's called The Instant
Mind Empowerment.
Mind Empowerment. So we're going to come after the break again with Elena. And we're going to talk a little bit more now about your financial health, and she's going to give you some great tips. So we'll see you after the break. Welcome back to The Wellness of Being. I'm Brad Poirier, your host, and we're back with Elena. So Elena, you just saw in the first segment, she was talking all about mindset, where you saw that I got hypnotized. Well, now in our second set, which I think is something very important, the show is about health and wellness and well-being, but I think financial health is one of those things that we really need, and tied into that is also mindset. So Elena's joining us now again, so welcome back, Elena.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you.
So we're going to talk now more about the financial side, because you are a certified accountant.
Yes.
You know, that's your background. So maybe give us a little bit of kind of how you got into accounting. What's accounting all about? Why do you need an accountant? You know, we could go on for hours, believe me. When it's about money, you can go on for hours. So I'll just let you start. We'll just dive right in.
Okay. So a little bit about myself. You know, as I mentioned before, I grew up in a communist regime. We were very restricted. So public speaking was taboo. You're not allowed to have your own business. And I really wanted to have my own business. I really wanted to be independent and have something of my own.
Yes.
So when I left Romania, after the age of 16, I moved to London, and that's where I studied my accounting. after moving to London, after about, I think in 94, 95, I moved on to Canada and continue. I opened my own business here in Canada, and then I specialized into taxes. So why is financial important to us? Because, you know, we work very hard for our money. So we want to make sure that, you know, we spend our money wisely. We spend our money on the goods that we really need and care for to make our family feel good and happy. And from my experiences, I find that that's not always the case. So that's where, you know, I get people come in and I look at their portfolio and I see, wow, you know, you do make a significant amount of money, and yet they don't have much to show for. And this is sad because, you know, society nowadays also teaches us that if we have that little plastic card that we keep in our pocket, we can just spend, spend, and sometimes we spend beyond our means.
Of course, and a lot of people, as long as I pay the minimum monthly, I'm good to go. That's fine.
And that's only making the banks happy.
Of course, yeah, because they're getting the interest in, among other things. But why for most people is it important to go to an accountant in regard to your finances?
Well, it's important to go to an accountant because if, let's say, for example, if you want to set up a business, it's very important for you to set it up properly.
Yes.
An accountant can guide you and tell you, okay, do you have the capital? What is it that you want to, what is your purpose for this business? Do you want to be a sole proprietor? Do you have to be a corporation? And looking at your scenario, looking at your situation, then the accountant will find the right way for you. And it's very important to seek the professional so you make sure that the startup is well done, because if you start on the wrong foot, then guess what? Everything else starts to go wrong.
Yes. So what's the most significant thing you teach for financial empowerment?
So the most significant thing that I teach, and this is something that I have developed over the years, I have a very easy 3-step system. And this system is called the MAP. Okay, so I've developed this system because I've worked with people from different walks of life. So I'll tell you what this map is all about. So M stands for mindset. Okay, because in every business you need to have the right mindset. You need to have the right intention. Okay, I'll give you an example. You need to know what you want when you start that business. So the second component of my map is the attitude. The attitude determines our behavior determines our actions, and our actions determines our results in the end. So having the right attitude, making that small shift, sometimes having the right attitude means making 1 degree shift to the left or to the right. That change, that small change could make a huge difference in the long run. And the third component of the MAP system is a plan of action. Okay.
Yes.
We need that plan of action. If we don't have a system or a plan of action, well, guess what? We are setting ourselves up to fail 94% of the time. So that's basically, this is a process that I have developed for the past 15, 16, 17 years now. So people, when they come to me, I just give them, I shifted, sorted, and separated. So I just give them a process that it's easy for them to implement, and they can use it on a regular basis.
Yes. How significantly do you work with mindset?
Okay, so mindset. Why is mindset important? So I want you to imagine, because when I work with certain people, I made a lot of distinctions, and some of the distinction is I come across some people that they have this what I call a concrete mindset. So if you imagine a piece of concrete, right? It's hard, it's set in concrete, and it's got cracks, and some of these cracks, they may be there from 10, 15, even a lifetime. So when you do the same thing over and over again. For example, you go to work using the same route.
Yes.
You repeat the same thing every day, and of course you're gonna get the same result, right? You can't do the same thing and generate a different result, because that's what I call insanity.
Yes.
Really. So this is why mindset is important. We want to move away from that, what I call that internal dialogue that we keep telling ourselves.
So how do you significantly empower people to change?
Okay, so it's a very easy process that doesn't take, and if you want, I can walk you through this very easy process and generate a little, a significant, not a significant, just 1 degree change.
Okay.
Just imagine like the map, and along the map there'll be a compass.
Yes.
Okay. So for us I'll give you an example. Do you have any coins in your pocket?
I think I may have some here.
Right.
Just let me check.
Yeah, check. Because I like.
Yeah, I have
awesome.
some. Yeah,
May I hold them? Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm going to hold on to these coins. I'm going to put them here on the table.
Yep.
And don't worry, you will get this back. I'm not going to keep this coin. So what I like you to do, have you ever experienced, and I'm not sure if you have, and I'm hoping, because this is a very easy process. Have you ever experienced a time in your life where this internal dialogue comes up? And it's not a positive dialogue, because sometimes it's easier for us to think negative because it's our survival mechanism that pushes us towards that. So I want you to go back and think of a negative aspect that keeps coming back every now and then and keeps saying, well, whatever it is that is saying to you in your own mind, in your mind's eye. Have you got that?
Okay, I believe so, yes.
Okay, so what I like you to do, you can, if you want, you can close your eyes or you can keep them open, it's up to you. I want you to go back and associate yourself with this feeling, with this internal dialogue, okay? And see yourself in your mind's eye experiencing that feeling right here, right now. And as you do that, I want you to notice this, make sure that the sounds are very clear. That's right. And when you're comfortable, I want you to pretend that there is a radio in front of you.
Okay.
And when you're ready, reach out and you'll see a dial, an imaginary dial on that radio. And I like you to turn that dial and turn that volume all the way up so that this voices, this audio, you can hear them clearly. Right. Now, for a moment, what I like you to do, I want you to reach back and turn that dial the opposite way. I want you to really lower those internal dialogue all the way down, and you'll still be able to hear it, but you really can't make out the words. That's right. Allow yourself to hear, but you're not able to make down the words. So now in a moment, Brad, I want you to reach out again, and this time I want you to change the channel. And I want you to look for an inspirational channel. So I want you to reach out, find that inspirational channel, and I want you to turn that inspirational channel on. And as you do, allow that inspirational voice to come up. And allow yourself to hear in your mind's eye that inspirational voice that is now giving you a positive message. And as you listen, I want you to internalize this positive message. That's right. And I want you to resonate with this internal message. And as you continue, now that we've changed that channel and you've experienced this positive message, I'm going to give you back your change. And I want you to keep this change, because this change that you've made just now is going to go a long way. And when you feel comfortable, I want you to place that change back in your pocket. And as you move along in the future, every time you put your hand in your pocket, this change will give you this beautiful, positive audio tape that will empower you to make the right decision at the right time. And as you feel comfortable now, your change is in your pocket, and it will be with you for the days to come, and the weeks, the months, and the year. All you have to do is just reach out in your pocket and get that positive change that will give you the right message, the right outcome, the success that you're looking for. And when you're comfortable, you can come back to here and now and join us again. Hi.
Hey. Wow, yeah, because it really makes total sense. The change equals change.
Right.
Right? So then that way you can say, hey, I don't have to feel this way. Put your hand in your pocket and I can change this. I can change my thoughts.
Right.
I can change my situation. I can
Right.
change
Anything.
You know, like that sort of thing. So can anybody change their financial habits to gain financial
Sure.
freedom?
Absolutely. So we've talked about the mindset. We've touched on the change. And,
Yes.
you know, we've made the distinction that really that voice is not real. It's just a voice in your head. You can change it, right? So the next thing, in order to change the financial habits, we have to have that 1 degree change. That 1 degree, I'll give you an example. Let's say instead of you buying your lunch today, take that $5 a day and put it aside. So the first principle that I teach is not how much money you make, but what is it that you keep at the end of the day. So that $5 per week becomes $25, per month is $100. You put that away, that becomes a significant amount at the end of the year, at the end of the long term. That's the first principle.
So with your book, Instant Mind Empowerment, you know, Mastering the Mental Game of Life, how would this book help with your finances?
This book will give you the empowerment to think positively, to make that shift, because we process information through our sensory basis, and this book this book gives you examples how to use your sensory basis, how to make that significant change that you can apply to any business, that you can apply to any situation in your daily life.
So some of the most common questions, I guess, with financial, I mean, there's so much with finances and getting yourself ahead. I guess with changing your mindset, number one, as I say, doing the change exercise at home. Since we have a few minutes, I'd like you to go into your book a little bit,
Okay.
kind of break it down and what's it all about? How are your chapters broken down?
Okay.
And kind of, you know, how do you utilize the information in this book?
Okay, so the book is broken down into 7 chapters.
Okay.
So the first chapter talks about mindset, the 2 different minds that we have, the conscious and the unconscious, and how the conscious and the unconscious operates. And once you master those, then the book goes on to talk about our basic sensories, how we process our information, because we all do it emotionally.
Yes.
The next chapter is building rapport. Now, it's important for everybody in business to build rapport with people, to build relationships, because once you are able to build that rapport and once you project that honesty, then it's easier for you to build those business relationships that can take you further away and, you know, build partnerships and so on and so forth. There is also a chapter on meditation, because you know what? In today's society, things happen. Things don't always go the way we want. And I find that meditating on a regular basis gives you that calmness, that mindset that helps you deal with the next
Yes.
task that you have. The other chapter that also deals with is leadership. I believe in business, leadership is very important. So leadership will give you different aspects on how, for example, if you are an employer who has employees, it gives you tips and strategies how to deal with that, to make your company more productive, to work as a team, and to have a win-win situation. The other chapter is communication, because what happens is when we dealt with the attitude side of things, but it's not what we say, it's how we say it, what we put emphasis on. So communication is a major component, because you want to communicate with truth and authenticity, and you want people to connect with you and trust you. So that's another chapter on the book. And the other chapter is, I think at the end, is intuition, because from my personal experience, and the chapter on intuition is not actually myself that wrote it, is a wonderful friend of mine and a mentor of mine, but I myself, and I believe we all use our intuition sometimes.
Yeah.
So there is a chapter on intuition where she actually walks you through the process and gives you tips that how you can use intuition to your advantage. And there is actually a free audio that everybody can download.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
So they can have the free audios anytime they want.
Yeah, because exactly with intuition, I think a lot of people have maybe a sixth sense or you know, ESP or just a knowing in general and stuff like that. I think as far as communication as well, a lot of the communication, yes, is how we dialogue, but I think a lot of our communication too is nonverbal as well. So then what your body says, if I'm sitting upright and I'm like this and I feel a lot stronger, that's different than if I'm slouched over and I'm talking to you like this. It automatically changes my mindset. You know, very, very, I think just even the way we dress, the way we kind of, and that goes back to mindset too, how you think about yourself, things like that, which will definitely help with our last segment, like hypnosis, that you can assist people with, and then also their financial as well, to get everything going, and you can show them how to, you know, keep the money they're making, you know, basically, and stuff like that. So if you were to give our audience one tip, what would be that one tip as far as financial, or even a tip from the book is great too, something that you want to share, Elena, just with our audience?
Well, on financial tip is don't spend beyond your means. That's the number one thing. And don't put your eggs in one basket. And always pay yourself first. Because when you pay yourself first, we tend to forget. We work so hard for our money, and then we just spend. So I usually advise my client that 1 degree change. Pay yourself first. Put it in let's call it a happy account.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
That is yours. So that would be my tip. So that mindset, 1 degree change would be that. Make that small change and be consistent with that the same change every day. Just put that one small change into a separate account.
Thank you so much, Elena, for coming here today. We've learned a lot, and I want to say, you know, the great takeaway is, you know, pay yourself first. I want to thank you for watching this segment and the segment ahead of time. We'll see you right after the break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to The Wellness of Being. I'm Brad Poirier, your host. Now for something exciting that maybe you haven't heard of before. It's called the quantum change. So I have my guest, Nicole, who's joining us on The Wellness of Being. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi, Brad. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to jump right in. So give us a little bit about your background first before we go into the quantum change.
Cool. So I have a degree in social work. I went to York University. I grew up with a desire to help people. So social work just felt like the most natural thing to do. From there, I was counseling young mothers at a not-for-profit agency and really found that there was a gap in what I could serve. I ended up going to some weekend program for professional development, of course, and then, of course, it turned into my own stuff. I really got connected to the work. You know, what I learned there was that there is a different way to living. There's hope, you know.
Of course.
So I got really inspired from that weekend, and I got trained in the techniques of NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnosis. And later on, I got started in the quantum change process, which I want to share with you about today. You know what, for me, it was an opportunity to just bring in the mind, body, and spirit connection. Be able to give people the tools to be their best selves, but also let go of all that emotional baggage. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay. So that moment when the light went, or did the direction find you, or you kind of just went in that direction?
I think the direction found me, to be quite honest. I grew up having to take care of a lot of people, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I was really focused on making sure everybody else was good. And, you know, it came a time when finally I found my dream job as a social worker, and I was like, okay, it's time for me. And that quickly changed. I didn't know how to do it all, you know, and I found myself just feeling really, I don't know, just powerless, really hopeless. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I have a choice. I can either, you know, do some work, which I did, or continue living the same way and just, you know, consistently feeling defeated in what I was doing. And so I don't know. I think that it found me. I resolved a lot of stuff. I like to say that I'm a self-love activist.
Yes.
I fell back in love with myself, you know?
And I think that's one thing that's really important for people that are caregivers, and there's probably lots of people in our audience watching that they find that they're probably the most depleted, and they're the most, because they give, and especially if you're taking care of a parent, or you have a sibling, or you have somebody just in that type of environment, you get so drained. But I think that's one of the last things for people like that, even myself included, is that we get so drained, and we're probably the last people to, we're so good at loving everyone else.
Absolutely.
The last person we love is ourselves.
Absolutely.
And how can you give to anyone else when you don't love yourself, when you're depleted, you don't have self-care, or like you said, you got to clear up a lot of stuff before you can even go to the next step and really help anybody else, sort of thing. So with that, so when the light went on, you're saying, okay, I'm going in this direction. You're clearing all your stuff. What are some discoveries that you made in your journey?
You know, I found that I was really good at loving everyone else. I was really good at making sure that I thought of everything, and I was, you know, I knew that I could support everybody. That left me in like that fear model, you know, of anxiety. It was either worst case scenario or worst case scenario, right? So there was never any time or space in my mind to just think of what actually could go right. And honestly, that was exhausting. That's that kind of energy, to hold on to that scarcity or that fear energy, that was exhausting. So I think one of the biggest breakthroughs for myself was realizing that I don't have to think about all the worst case. I think I did that because I was trying to be prepared for any outcome. You know, like if I could think of everything that could go wrong, then I could be prepared for it and I wouldn't get hurt.
Yes, oh, of course. And I think that's one big thing. Like you hit it right on the head, because people are so afraid of getting hurt, getting judged. And I think a lot, I mean, you must deal with people with all kinds of patterning, especially because you do NLP and things like that. With the neuro-linguistic programming, a lot of people really don't understand a lot of that self-talk, a lot of that stuff we've been given from our parents, from other people, from the people maybe we even look up to, that, you know what I mean? I think that's, if one lesson, I always think that as a parent, that's one thing you should do. Even if you're not a parent, but even for somebody else, is lift somebody else up. Be careful of those words, because those words carry weight. And if somebody says, you're bad, you're awful, you'll never amount to anything, and if that person believes that, guess what?
It will happen.
Exactly. And I think the biggest thing with self-love, but another thing is, so if people came to you for the quantum change process, what would they gain from that?
Well, you know, it takes that, you know, the worst situation or the worst situation. So what the quantum change process, what that focus is people come in with a problem, right? You know, some people will say, like, I have anxiety. Some people will say, I want to achieve success in my business, and there's a block. And so what we do is we actually set a positive intention for the session. Quantum change is based on releasing the limiting beliefs at the core, right? It's based on accessing those negative emotions. You know, if something happened in my life, I made a decision, I made a limiting belief in that moment, and it anchors in at the cellular level, right? But it's at the unconscious part, and we're not really tapped into that. So through the quantum change, I actually use a tool called muscle testing, or applied behavioral kinesiology, and that has that is essentially how we get the accuracy of the body. You know, sometimes we know what denial is, right? Like, consciously, we all know our story, right?
Well, I guess a lot of people don't want to admit, I'm not in denial.
Right. And so we know that there's denial, but we also have the denial that it's we're disconnected from our truth, like of who we are. And, you know, for me, anxiety is what kept me distracted from who I really was, you know, and that kept me disconnected from loving myself. So the quantum change, what it does is it helps to restore someone back to their truth. So we align the conscious mind and we align the unconscious mind. We discover who, we discover the when, and we discover the memories that are attached to whatever limiting belief was made. You know, like something that happened at the age of 7, in a moment of just putting up your hand and say the teacher didn't recognize you, in that moment, you could have made a decision, or I could have, that says, I'm not smart enough. And in a moment like that, it anchors in at your unconscious level and it stays there. And so we end up having to go through patterns. You know, I always say if it happens more than 3 times, that's a pattern.
Of course.
Right. And so eventually someone will realize that that's not working for them anymore. And that's when a quantum change session is really, really powerful. We use the muscle testing to find out, and we let the unconscious mind give us the information. If I asked you consciously, it would just be the same story you've always told. I don't have time for that. I only have 3 hours. So muscle testing helps us access those the actual root of the problem that's preventing someone from getting what they want.
So with muscle testing, would it be your belief system that you're using the muscle testing for?
So muscle testing is the tool that I use to find out who's involved, who we need to address, when it anchored in. What we're doing is we're restoring the life source energy, the will to live. Okay. Yes. So that can come out at any time. We're working with this meridian line. So you're familiar with acupuncture, and it works with meridian lines. So we're restoring this one right here, the life source, the will to live. And when we do that, we're actually bringing into alignment your truth, you know, the truth of who you are. And we let go of the memories and the beliefs that are attached to that at the cellular level. The process is about 3 hours. The muscle testing helps us to discover the information, and then we go through a clearing process. And we do this through forgiveness. I believe that forgiveness is the most powerful transformation agent on the planet. And we do this through compassion and acceptance. Really, like at the bottom line, quantum change process is there to restore hope. And to give people back choice, because we know we're stuck, right? When we're stuck, we feel like we have no other options. And when I can act as a resource to give someone a different way of looking at things, to me, that's freedom.
Because I think so many of us, you know, they all deal with that and say, lost the will to live. But I think that's a thing, because when you think lost will to live, you know, it's about dying, but it kind of is in some ways. But what it is you're losing, you know, yourself. In some ways it's also renewal. You can die to your old self and let the renewed self come, or you just lost the passion, I think. Passion for life. You don't have the energy, you just exist. You know, the shell is there, but the you know, it's just, you're not fully present. You're not mindful. You're not in the moment. You're just
kind of going with the flow. You're in the gray zone, right? And so there's that idea that if you just get up in bed in the morning and say, you know what, do I have to do this again? You know, that's enough to just kind of take that out of alignment. And so what we do is we restore that back, because every single person here has a purpose, and every person has the potential to be their best selves. And I find that the quantum change process is one of the most profound techniques that I've seen, and I have experienced that, and I know what it's done for me. That's what I'm passionate about. Every single thing that I do with clients is something that I have lived myself, and I know how it's dramatically changed my life. So people, as soon as they finish the session, are saying they feel light, they feel peaceful, and they just have more focus. They're more grounded in what they want, and it's just easier to decide, like, okay, so what am I gonna do? You know, we've cleaned up, like, you know, let's say 29 years of emotional baggage, but we're not just doing this at the conscious, we're doing it at the unconscious level, and we're using quantum physics and quantum mechanics to let all that stuff go. So I like to say it's like the emotional baggage is like the quantum change allows us to release that at like a highly effective way.
Yeah, of course, and I think carrying all that baggage too, because a lot of it, like you said, it's anchors, and you could probably hold anchors for like years, if not even like right to the end. Once that's been anchored in, and we use it for a lot of different things, even in relationships with people, you'll say, I'll never, again, but then you find, like you said, repeat it over and over and over. I'm never going to date that type of person again. Who do you find? The same person. Again. You're like, why do I keep getting that person? But obviously, I think the way it happens is there's a lesson to be learned within that you're not releasing. And I understand about getting rid of all the garbage, getting rid of all the crap, and probably a lot of it too, because a lot of that psychological anchoring probably manifests in some kind of physical form or some kind of physical pain, or, you know, and people may associate it, well, I'm getting older, or it's this, or it's my job, or, as I say, but when you lose your passion, because if that alarm goes off early in the morning and you're saying, I need 5 more minutes, you're not excited about life, you're not excited about going to work, and I think work is called work for a reason. Because it is work. It's not your passion, it's not your, I think when you're light and you're unburdened, and as I say, you have forgiveness, but I think with forgiveness, it's not only in relationships, but really it's probably with yourself.
With yourself is the most important.
For making those promises, making those agreements, you know, in your life, sometime, you know, in your life, and said, I'm never going to do this again, I'll make sure that doesn't happen again, nobody's going to hurt me again, I'm never going to talk again, whatever it might be. You don't realize that consciously the stuff that you're feeding yourself, you know, it goes deep, you know, in the cellular level, things like that. And with the things that you're doing, you know what I mean? I think probably you know, it's probably, muscle testing must be the foolproof, if not one of the greatest methods to do it. So with muscle testing, can you show me like how it's done?
Absolutely. So what I'll do is I'll ask you to just to hold up your arm parallel to your body. Perfect. Yep. And so normally in a session we'd be standing up. So just for the purposes of today. So what I'll ask is I'm going to ask you to take a breath in and a breath out. And I'm going to ask you to say what your name is. So say, my name is Brad. Okay. My name is Brad. Breathe in. Out. Resist. Good. So the body says that's a strong response. Body is in alignment with the fact that your name is Brad, right? Okay. So that would tell me then that's a truth, or that's a truth in belief? That's a truth that your body knows with profound accuracy that that is in fact your name. So, you know, what we can do is we can put this sugar, if you want to just place that on your belly button. Okay, sure. So obviously it's white sugar, it's refined, it's made, you know, can't be good for any of us. No. So I'll have you hold your arm up again. Yep. And then what I want you to do is breathe in. Okay. Breathe out. Resist. And what you'll notice is your arm will collapse because your body says no, like sugar isn't good. So it's resisting it. It's saying this is not good for me. Yeah. Wow, it's totally incredible. And so then we have vitamin C. Okay. Okay, so vitamin C is good for us, right? Yes. Okay, so hold that one on your belly button. Yep. And we'll have you hold your arm up. Again. Yep. And so I want you to take a breath in and a breath out and resist. Cool. So body says strong. I love it, right? Because I'm not even doing anything. Like literally, I'm not doing anything. You're resisting the pressure. So we use this tool to find out who is involved, when did it anchor in, and again, like I said, we're accessing the unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind remembers everything you've ever said, every word that's ever been spoken to you. It's like a holographic library. Why I work with the unconscious mind is because it holds, it has everything we need to know. And so again, if you have a limiting belief of something of your past and you're unconsciously aware of it, and like you had mentioned, you know, why am I dating this man again? How did I find this other person? To me, that's a pattern, right? And so that's keeping someone stuck. After a QCP session, we release all of that stuff. We release the attachments, but not only at a conscious level, at the unconscious level. Your unconscious mind, like, wants to play. It wants to bring everything up for resolution. So oftentimes someone will leave and say, okay, like I just feel more confident in who I am. I know that I know why I did that. And I have forgiven that person genuinely, and I have forgiven myself. And like I had mentioned before, self-love is the most important thing. At the end of the day, you are the most important person in this world. Exactly. So what if I was a skeptic and I say like, hey, my name is Bob. So what would happen? So if you want to try it out, let's try it. So my name is Bob. Breathe in, out, resist. Holy cow. Your body knows your name isn't Bob. I mean, if your middle name was Bob, it may have given us a strong response. It's possible that, you know, like I had mentioned, denial, you know, denial from what we actually see to be true, and then denial from our truth. In an actual session, what I'm doing is aligning the conscious and the unconscious mind, and I do that through, you know, discovering the layers of denial, and through very simple techniques, we actually clear denial and we bring someone back into alignment. So yeah, maybe you may have tested strong to Bob, but that's just a sign to me that your body is in denial, and there's some other discovery that we must do, right? It's pretty powerful. I guess so, because I guess if somebody has a belief, and I guess, I mean, if you tell yourself the same lies over and over, they become your truth. And if for the last 5 years I said, I don't want to be called Brad, my name is Bob, right? So then I say, oh, I'm Bob, I'm Bob, I'm Bob. So then with that testing, because it's a belief that you created, so then I guess you can go in, so you would find out where that denial is, and you would work through that, so eventually people can clear the debris, get rid of that garbage, and you know, stuff like that. So you said with people coming to you, it's a 3-hour session? So that's pretty lengthy. Yeah, it's a 3-hour session. I mean, if this problem has been following people around for their entire life, in my eyes, 3 hours is really short. So we're resolving and we're letting go of emotional baggage at a cellular level, right? That's profound transformation. So I always say to people, when you leave, I'm literally taking like a pretend shovel and I'm literally getting rid of that stuff, because that's the kind of stuff that comes out. We are identifying, and we're bringing, I guess, quantum change changes the experience of the experience. You know, we all have memories, but when we resolve those and we let go of we let go of the limiting beliefs or the negative emotions, we're actually able to see those memories and we get new experiences from that. We have new beliefs. We get to choose differently.
Yes.
We don't get to be stuck anymore in this belief that I'm unworthy or that, you know, I'm not lovable. And that's the power. If someone comes into my office thinking or even believing for one moment that they're not worthy, and they can leave my office knowing that they are worthy and it was just a lie, to me, that's everything.
Exactly. Well, this has been amazing. This episode went so fast.
Thank you.
It was like incredible. But I can see your energy. I can see that, you know, there's no weight. The debris is cleared. So I want to say thank you for joining us.
Thank you so
much.
much.
I want to say thank you for watching this show today. We'll see you on the next one, and join us again soon.